Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Black Butterfly Podcast. And you are now in the cocoon room. We are back from a long layoff, crazy layoff. But we got a special guest tonight. Obviously, we're talking about finances. And so before we introduce, I'll let her introduce herself as I joked with her before the show. My name is Amaru, and I am one of the co-hosts of the podcast.
Hi guys, long time no see. I am Candace. Welcome back to the Black Butterfly Podcast. You are now in the cocoon room.
And we would like our guest to introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. I am Janaire. I've never been in a cocoon, I don't think. So I'm excited to see how this is going to go. I'm all about a metamorphosis, though. So
right on. That's the word. Right on.
Let's see what we can do. I'm excited. Let's get into it.
But we would like to start off with regular protocol. Again, we apologize because we had some crazy stuff going on within our lives, deadlines, personal, I wouldn't say tragedies, but personal things going on. And so that was delaying some of our schedule, so conflicting with our schedule. So we are.
Just tell them you had 50 million classes and courses you had to graduate from.
I don't want to do that because I don't want to make it seem like I'm doing it like that. But I had a real busy time, and I'm just so grateful for my co-host because she was so patient with me. My wife, obviously, with my family support. That's why it's always key to have support when you're going through stuff like that. And so I'm through it now. I like to reference him. R. Kelly song "The Storm Is Over Now." That's where I'm at now. So I like to keep the party going. So with that said, do you ladies have any opening remarks before we get started?
I just want to say I'm gonna ask you to celebrate yourself, sir. There's no need, no reason to shy away from it, tone it down, bring it back, hold it back. Dude, you did it. Congratulations. You should be excited and tell everybody else, damn it, I did it. And I'm excited.
I'm with you. I'm just not that type of dude.
Be that type of dude. You owe it to yourself. As much work as you put in, be that person.
I appreciate you, though. It's well taken. Candace?
And it inspires others to want to go back and do further education. Just because Amaru isn't going to talk about it, he was finishing up 2 programs at one time, and we are so excited for him. So he finished his programs. We put the podcast on hold just so that he can get through his testing and things like that. So we do want to celebrate him and tell him congratulations. And when he finished his program, I started a 13 weeks program. So we all have some things that we've been working on. So we are back in full effect. If we take another break, just inbox us and say, hey guys, where are you at?
Yeah, because people thought the stuff was, I'm like, it ain't nothing like that. It's like, there's some way other stuff going on. So Maximus, this dude changes his name all the time. Alex, I don't know what Maximus, Decimus, Meredith, I know who he is, but facts, I appreciate that. But with that said, I like to pivot to our protocol. And so we would like to, before we get started, feature when you do word or scripture first?
Well, let's go with the scripture first.
Okay, let's do scripture of the day, and I'll let Candace take it away.
All right, guys. Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap at the proper time we will reap a harvest. If we don't give up. So I just chose that one because we are talking about finances and also budgeting. I know oftentimes some people quit before they get to their goal or before they get to the destination because they get tired. Like, I've been working on this project for so long. I've been persistent, and I planted the seed, but I haven't seen a harvest yet. So then people give up right when they get to the finish line. So I just wanted to say, just persevere.
All right, cool. And so with that perseverance and, reaping a harvest, right? And, I don't know if anyone heard the opening music, it was money, 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 right? So we at that time of the year, right? Because tax season is over, we're done tax time, tax season balling, right? And so we're gearing up for this, for the summer and the fall, right? And so we wanted to have a conversation about budgets, right? Finance. And I've been knowing this young woman for a long time, and she's excellent at what she does. She may not say it, I know back channels of some of the people that she's helped, and so I thought it would be fitting to start this conversation with her. And so we'll just get right into it, Janaire. I had some topics for you, and so the first topic I would like to address is what would be your rule of thumb for personal budgeting, and I'll let you know.
So I have two. The biggest one is your money mantra. People call it a money mindset. You call it whatever you need to, but it's how you think about money. So what is it that you're consistently saying to yourself about money? Like when the subject comes up, are you angry? Are you mad? Are you excited? Are you depressed? Are you nervous? Because it creates a lot of feeling and emotion in a lot of people, and they get uncomfortable around it, especially us. Let's just be real, right? But whatever the feeling is fine. It's natural. It's normal. It's not a big deal, but you want to make sure that you're clear on how you're feeling about it and where the feelings are coming from before you even start to budget, because how you think about money is ultimately how you're going to handle it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if your best friend calls you right now and says, hey, let's go do whatever, and they're going to go do whatever it is going to cost a couple dollars. All right. So is your initial gut reaction like, yeah, let's go get it? And in fact, it's on me because I got it. Let's go. Or are you like, I don't know. I ain't really got it right now. Or is it YOLO? Like, I don't care that I ain't got it. I'll worry about it tomorrow. Friday, I got paid and I'm broke Saturday morning. These are all natural things that everybody goes through, right? It's all perfect. It's fine. It's not a big deal, but you want to make sure that you know how you're feeling about it. Whatever that initial gut reaction is, that is your money mantra, okay? That is that's your truth, should I say, around money. Because gut reactions don't have time to be watered down by rationale. It just is what it is. All right. So whatever that initial response is, that's where you want to start. Okay. And if you look at it and you say, this isn't necessarily where I want to be, cool. Level up. It's time for an upgrade. You want to elevate your money mantra to reflect what you want your finances to be. Simple as that. If it doesn't reflect it, make it so. Change it. You can make it whatever you need it to be to fit whatever your goals are. And so once you have that figured out, then you can start strategizing. And that's my second rule of thumb. You have to have a plan. Everybody has a strategy for struggle.
Question before you keep going.
Go ahead.
When you say plan, would you recommend like three bullet point plan for like the summer, or three bullet point plan for 6 months? Okay, talk. Or three bullet point plan for 9 months. You see what I'm going? So
I got you.
What would that look like? As far as from your
so what I would suggest is figuring out where you are and how you function best, right? So if you're a cash person, I know plenty of people our age, older, younger, they don't like cards. They don't like plastic, so they carry cash. An envelope system might work well for you. Me, I can't do envelopes. I don't like having all that money, in 12 different envelopes. It's $50 over here. It's $500 over here. It's, $22.19 over there. Like, I cannot do that. But if you're somebody who knows, hey, money is king, cash is king in your life, do the envelope system. Me, I'm a zero balance person. I do the zero budget, which means every single dollar is accounted for. So if I say this bucket is all of my bills for the month. This bucket is groceries for the week. This bucket is whatever, whatever, whatever. I have every single dollar accounted for. And what's left, I can put it in my savings if I'm trying to save for something. I can put it towards a specific goal. If I have, like, I know I want to go to Italy next year, it can go in the travel fund, whatever you want to do with it. But every single dollar is accounted for. If you're somebody who can do bits and pieces and say the 50, 30, 20, right? Okay. So 50% of it goes to your housing and your cars and your necessities. And then 30% goes to like your savings. And then 20% is yours to do whatever you want to do with. So find the budget that works for you is what I will absolutely tell anybody, because it's not a black and white. Everything is not for everybody. And once you find out how you best function with money, that's the choice and the route you want to take. And as you go through it and you get to the point where it's like, okay, I got this down and maybe I have more money now, you can change your strategy to fit where it is you want to be. I'm a person, I schedule and budget 90 days out. Like right now, legit, this is what my life looks like. This is a large monthly planner.
Move it over a little bit because it's blurred out.
Blurred out.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, we see it a little bit.
Large monthly planner. Yeah. And there's nothing in here but a bunch of days. And it ain't nothing else in here. So I write all the dates in. And I have my days split out between time and money.
Where did you get that pamphlet?
Amazon.
And how much did it cost?
$9.
There you go.
I got 2 of them.
Now, I have a question for you. Yes, in one of my, my real life careers, I'm a therapist. So oftentimes you will see couples, let's just say that, nobody that I'm currently seeing, but couples who have issues with their finances or learning how to save or learning how to deciding on if they want to have individual accounts or if they want to have, one individual account and then a house account. What would you suggest as far as like short-term and long-term goals for a family that's trying to say, now, people who are in their 40s and 50s, they might not be having that issues, but like newlyweds, maybe 25 years old, just got married. They've been used to having their own individual accounts. And now they're talking about having a joint account. What does that look like?
Before you ask that, let me go before you ask that question. So this was a major issue when I first got married. Shout out to my wife too. I love her very much. But because what would happen was that she purchased something, I scrutinized it. I purchased something, she scrutinized it. But it's like, well, you bought a pair of shoes, blah, blah, it shouldn't cost that much. And I'm like, well, you bought a pair of earrings, so for us, everybody's different. For us to stop that energy, we had to have our own bank accounts and then have a separate one for the family. But go ahead. I just put that out there. Go ahead.
And I personally, because a lot of people fight over finances, I think it's great that you have your individual accounts and then have that house account. But some people don't see it that way. What would you suggest?
So first of all, I feel like there are what I call 3 C's to successful relationships: clarity, communication, and consistency. So value is what you're wanting to pay attention to when it comes to finances as a unit, because what somebody values is where they're going to spend their money. And so if you're coming together as a unit, we need to figure out what it is that we both value enough to say, hey, we don't need to worry about how much money we're spending over here because this is the family values. These are our goals, what we're working towards. Now, I'm a shoe fan. I am baby. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to bring somebody in here to put some more shelves in because I ran out of space. Don't tell Mr. Man. Okay. But for me, shoes are my thing. He knows shoes are my thing. He doesn't care that shoes are my thing. For him, he won't admit it, but shoes are his thing too. I don't care that shoes are his thing. When you start bumping heads are things that you both value and the other person isn't willing to see, hey, this is something that means something to them. And this is something that means something to the other person. So you have to have that conversation. It might be a hard one to have, but be honest with your partner about the things that mean the most to you. So if you say, because I've had conversations with people who are right now our age with babies, and they're having a conversation with their spouse of sending the child to private school or public school. Okay. What means the most in terms of education to you? Is it the prestigious part of an education, or is it the actual education? If it is the actual education, is it something where we can take ownership of what our child is learning and make sure we're teaching them the things that we want them to learn, and then allowing the school system to teach whatever the curriculum is for the school system, and weighing the pros and cons and all of that. So usually the best solution is to have his account, her account, our account. But if you have a situation where you know you can be open and honest with your partner, and you guys both value each other's opinions and those things that mean the most to you, having a joint account really shouldn't be an issue. But I would suggest, more than anything, finding out what really means the most to you individually and as a unit, and go from there.
I want to be real quick. I like to shout out Asia, because when we talked about this being the topic, she said, because yes, this is good because she spends money like she a drug dealer. I love her. So thank you.
Hey, now the most successful drug dealers are great business people.
Exactly, right? Absolutely.
So absolutely. I mean, are you spending your money like the 15-year-old drug dealer or the 50-year-old drug dealer? Because the 50-year-old drug dealer is probably buying an empire, right? The 50-year-old drug dealer is buying Jordans.
Really quickly, the 3 C's. I love that. Would you be able to go ahead and type that in the comments so that everybody else can have access to that? Because they're probably going to ask you about that a little later.
Now, Candace, you won't need to type comments in.
Come on, go ahead. We'll have our tomorrow do it.
We see.
No, I got it. I'll put it in there. But go ahead.
Thank you.
What C's?
What we
My
doing
sister said thumbs up on the 3 accounts.
Yes.
Hi, Crystal.
I got my screen up here, y'all, so I'm like having to move stuff around, but I got it.
What was the 3 C's?
Clarity, communication, and Consistency. Thank you.
So that's the 3 C's for a successful relationship, Eugene. Make sure you put that so they'll have it.
Okay, so now, what is your process action plan for paying bills?
You left out communication, mister.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, okay.
Action plan for paying bills, pay them. You know they do. Pay them. What else we need to talk about now? Okay.
It's funny though, before you start, it's funny you say that, because I got a little nephew, and so my family, what I'm doing with my little cousin that's coming up, I'm having a credit conversation with them at the age of 17, 18, right? Because I'm sure this is the reason why. What ended up happening is when they start getting older and they start wanting apartments and cars and things like that, you get that phone call, hey, cuz, can you co-sign for me? And my conversation with them at 16, 17 is like, I will not be fielding those phone calls, right? And so we're going to start talking about credit cards right now. My gift to you is I'm going to get you a prepaid credit card, right? So you can start establishing your own credit. So when you get to that point, you can understand why people are not going to be willing to co-sign for you, because you're working on paying your bills on time, right? And so real quick, I'm gonna let you go. My cousin called me one day. This is my look. He like 20, 21, right? So he got his credit established, right? And so as I'm walking him through the process, about good 3-4 months in, he's called me. He said, cuz, he was like, I got to ask you a question. I was like, what's up? He was like, so my other cousin told me that you shouldn't pay when your credit card is due. You should pay on the due date. And I said, stop listening to these idiots. I said, what happens when the due date is on a weekend, on a holiday weekend? Then you're going to be late. And that's the thing on your credit. And so I just want to put it, like you said, pay the bill. That's what you said, pay the bill. Well, go ahead.
I actually did have a very small bullet point about co-signing that we could tap on later. But so paying your bills, highest to lowest by interest rate, not balance. Mm-hmm. These are bills that are currently in good standing that you're paying every single month. I'm not talking about your cell phone bill and your Wi-Fi bill and all of that. They don't have interest rates attached to them. Whatever that bill is every month, it is what it is. You pay it on time and you move on. Mm-hmm. Your car note, if you have a mortgage, your credit cards, all of those have interest rates attached to them. That interest rate determines how much you're actually going to pay over time for the money that they gave you. So the higher the interest rate, the more money you're paying. So go through your bills, find those that have interest rates attached to them. Whichever one is the highest interest rate, start chumping away at that one first, and then work your way down. On your credit report, start chumping away at the highest balance. Interest rates don't matter on your credit report because it's already on there. So whatever the highest balance you carry on your credit report is, start chumping away at that one first and whittle your way down.
That's great information. Would that be the same thing for student loans?
Yep. And with student loans, student loans are kind of funky. And the reason the student loans are kind of funky is because a lot of options that you have for other loans and other interest-bearing accounts, you do not have those same options for student loans if they're federal student loans, okay? So your federal student loans, if you do a consolidation, guess what's not getting consolidated?
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at one of our viewers. I am not paying those student loans. They got to catch me.
That's the shout out to J Dub. Put in there.
And the sad part is, I know how much he owed.
She did. Didn't you work at what is it? Freddie Mae? Didn't you work?
Freddie Mae.
Freddie Mae.
Completely different situation. Everybody think it's Sally Mae.
Sally Mae. Sally Mae, a bad chick though.
Boy. She out here killing everybody. No. So the thing with student loans, though, like I said, you're not going to be able to consolidate those because they're federally funded funds. Completely different ball game. Now, if you went to your bank and got a student loan, if you went through your credit card company, got a student loan, the same things apply to those as would any other standard loan. So if you do need to consolidate, you can absolutely throw those in the bucket. But if you have, like most of us, if you went to school at any point in time, you have a minimum of $50,000 in student loans. Okay. Nice large number. Here's what happens with your student loans. As long as you're in school, they say, hey, you in school, you ain't got to pay that. Don't even worry about it. And when you get out of school, we're going to give you 90 to 120 days to start paying us back. And you only got to give us like $70 a month. Don't even trip. You got this. Lies they tell. Here's what happens. That little bitty number, a percentage of interest that they throw on there is compounding while you're in school, while you're waiting to pay them back, while you're paying them back. And all of that can change your little $10,000 loan you got to be a $25,000 bill you owe by the time you graduate. They don't tell you that. Well, lies. They do tell you that. It's in the fine print. Most of us don't read the fine print. How many of y'all really read y'all master promissory note?
Not me. All right, no, I did.
It's in there.
I saw Pell Grant. I was just checking for that. I won't read nothing.
My parents always said the big print gives it. The big print gives it. The small print takes it away. So
that's fair.
And let me say this, shout out to Jay as well, because I also want to put this out there. He's running Juneteenth in Indianapolis. It's going to be on the 17th. I am so proud of him. He's dope. They're expanding, right? They're doing parades and pageants and stuff. And so I always like to give love to Black excellence, him and his wife. Dope. I'm going to probably step in and step out, hopefully, if my schedule permits, because I'm going to get my nephew. So I always try to support, especially from the crib, right? Anybody doing something like that. So shout out to him. But go ahead.
We're going to try to make it, Dub. I promise.
Yeah.
But yes, so in those situations, regardless of what that high balance is, that's the one you want to start chipping away at first, okay? And when it comes to student loans, please read the fine print, because especially if it's a federal student loan, and even with it being just a regular one, there are plenty of loopholes in that promissory note that are gotchas on the end that you can do absolutely nothing about. And you want to try to avoid those. So yeah, they're going to cap you out at like 7%. That's a decent rate. But 7% of $90,000 is how much?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm saying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, don't be surprised if, you went and you only got $10,000 in student loans, and then by the time you graduate, they tell you owe us $35,479.19, and we want all our money now.
But that's why I work at nonprofit, because they have, what is that? The oh my goodness, the loan forgiveness program.
Yes.
Where, what is it? 7 years or is it 10 years? I forget the number.
I think it's 10. Don't get me to telling no stories. I
forget it is, but after 10 years working at a nonprofit, they forgive all your debt. So that's why people are like, why are you working? That's why I ain't stupid. Like, I'm gonna work this. It's Biden.
So
I didn't vote.
For those looking for employment, go find a nonprofit to work for if you got some debt you're trying to get rid of.
Yeah. Okay, it's 10 years. Okay, I forget.
Yeah.
So as we're in the middle, I would like to pivot to the next question. Well, I'll just say topic, which would be establishing personal credit and everything surrounding, which would be credit cards, banks, and loans. And before we dive in, I like to put this out there. So, like, I stress people to have a relationship with your bank, because it's crucial for your financial success in the future, right? The reason I'm having that conversation with my little cousins right now about personal credit, right? Because we lack the knowledge of financial literacy, how powerful it is, right? How that mustard seed grows, when you're maintaining your credit, your accounts correctly. And I'll give you an example. So I worked in banking for, it was 2.5 years. And like this conversation around getting personal loans, right? And so what would end up happening, so when you walk into a car dealership to get a car, right? And you're like, hey, I want to purchase this car. And you write your name on that application, and they take it back to the finance manager, right? That finance manager will take your application and put your name in the system. And based on your credit score, right? And if your credit score is not applicable to the bank that willing to accept you as a lender, that's a ding on your credit, right? When you walk into the bank, right, and you go through the same process, that's only one ding on your credit. And so it was so many times when I walked into the bank, and I would have our people, Black people, walk in there, and they were applying for loans, credit cards, whatnot. And I would look at their credit bureau. I would be blown away, because I would see, well, why is it 15 times here? That's bringing your credit score down, right? And so it's talking about these things, because you don't understand, like when you walk into the car dealership, they have their own finance team. So when you walk into the bank, the person that's financing is the banker to the underwriter, right? So that is like understanding why, you need to have that relationship. And I'll say this too. So instead of, you can be pre-approved for a loan, and you can take your check, go get your check from the bank, walk into the car dealership, pay them outright in cash, and now you're just paying the debt back to the bank that you owe. And what ended up happening, people don't understand the powerfulness of that, is that the interest rate at the bank is going to be 8-9 times lower than the interest rate that you're paying at the car dealership when you're trying to get a car, right? So go ahead. I just like to put that out there.
Real quick, Janaire, before you start, my family belongs to credit union. So just to follow to what you said, Amaru, that is absolutely true. So what they have done in the past, and it's, I moved here when I first graduated, so I've been here in school. So, but my parents, for my siblings that were still at home, they would always go, like, I would go buy my card, go to the car lot, whatever, handle the business that way. They would always go to the credit union first. They would get the bill of sale first. Take it to the credit union, get the check from the credit union, and take it back to the dealership. And the dealership, the finance people will be blown away. But this is something that they've been doing. So it is very important that you establish a relationship with your, with your bank or personal banker.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Janaire. Go ahead. I'd just like to put that out there. Go ahead.
I feel like I ain't got nothing else to say. But building a relationship with your bank essentially cuts out the middleman.
Yes.
In a lot of situations.
Yes.
Because you can get every single bank you walk into, credit unions included, they can give you a credit card, they can give you an auto loan, they can give you a mortgage loan. Some of them can even give you a construction loan if you need one. So it just, it definitely behooves you to have a good standing relationship with your bank, period. Because honestly, they are more apt to give you credit if you have none. It's a great place to start. As funky as we just talked about student loans, if you go to school and you even if it's something as simple as you only paying for one semester, right? And you do it through financial aid, you have now established credit for $1,200. Small amount, but it gets you started. You got to start somewhere. If you're looking to start with credit cards, your easiest route most likely is going to be a secured one, which means it's going to cost you anywhere from $300 to $500. The interest rate is going to be donkey, but you got to start somewhere. The biggest thing I will tell anyone in terms of starting with a secured credit card, interest rates, introductory fees, annual fees. Okay. Your interest rate is going to be stupid anyway because you have no credit. They have to charge you because they want their money back. It's just what it is.
A typical 18 to 24%.
Period.
Yep.
No getting around it. Sometimes it could be higher.
Higher. Yep.
But if they have an annual fee of $150 and you get approved for $300, guess what happens? You have already used 50% of the credit you have been given because that $150 comes out off the top. So 30% is the magic number in the world of credit card usage, and you've already went over that. So the best thing to do is to have $450 ready to go. Right. So you can get them their $150 right back.
Yeah.
Period. But yes, so a secure card is a way to go. Co-signing is a way to establish credit. Okay, people, let's just talk about it. It makes everybody uncomfortable. It makes everybody mad. But the truth is, you got to start somewhere. And so if you're going to somebody asking them to co-sign, or if someone is coming to you asking you to co-sign, you just want to make sure that you all have a relationship. You can trust this person, that they are responsible enough for this to be a beneficial situation. Period. It's as simple as that, because you roll the dice either way. If you are co-signing for somebody, you rolling the dice that they're going to hold up their end of the bargain. Another way to establish credit, you can become, an authorized user on someone else's account. That's another roll of the dice, because you're rolling the dice on this person who put you on their account as an authorized user, that they're paying their bills on time and that they have, good credit ethic to where it's not going to ruin whatever credit you're trying to establish. Because if you do get on someone else's credit as an authorized user and they always maxing out and paying the minimum and all of that, honey, they gonna mess you up before you even get in the door. So those type of situations, they are options, but just be careful. Okay, it's not for everybody.
So I have a question. So for young adults that may be headed off to college in August, would you say that you would get them a, because some people don't know the difference between a credit card and a charge card. What would you suggest in order to help them establish and build credit? Because the goal, I think, like for me per se, and I don't know if your family had those conversations with you before you left for college, about what it's like to have credit and to establish credit. A lot of kids leave home, they've never had a credit card, or they're just now getting a bank account, and they're swiping that debit card, and if you don't put anything in, nothing can come out of it. And then they go on these college campuses, and it's like the military is there trying to recruit your kids, the credit card people is there trying to recruit your kids. What else? These studies where they want you to come and do this study and take this medication. You might grow hair out your ears, and kids haven't. No, seriously, kids haven't been educated on that. So they're like, "Oh, I'm hungry. They offer me an extra $500. I can go and do this study." So, what would you tell a young person that's going off to school and getting excited that they can apply for credit at 18?
Do you have a job? Simple as that. Because if you are going to get this credit on your own, you're going to have to pay for it. And if you do not have any income, why in the world would you be getting credit from anybody? Why would you sign yourself up for that? That's number one. So if you know you do not have a way to pay this back, find another way to get you some money, period. That's number one. Number two, do not borrow more than you need, period. I understand that the refund is very appealing. However, you're going to pay for that refund, okay? And especially if you do not have a plan for what you're going to do with that refund to make you more money, it's costing you more money, period. Parents, if you are sending your children to school, please have the conversation with them to let them know about this predatory lending, because that's really what it is. Right. They are banking on your ignorance. They're saying, listen, you fresh out the water, you don't know what's going on, and if I can get you to sign this little contract, I got you. And once they got you, they got you. Okay? My very first credit card, I remember it was black with silver writing on it. It was a MasterCard. And they gave me like $750 out the gate. I was like, what? I went to Belvedere Blues and bought a pair of Sergio's. Like, man, this things cost me $1,297.29.
Mine was Capital One, and I tell you to this day, I do not have a Capital One card. No, ma'am.
Okay.
And my parents educated me on credit, and still,
I love Capital One. They finance a lot of stuff in my life. I'm not mad at them. I have 2 of their cards.
I don't mess with them. I have Visas and American Express.
I have gladly built a great relationship with Capital One. But that actually started with my first luxury car loan. They financed it. And it was just, from there, kept going. And then I refied because the car I have now, I was approved through another lender, but I refied through Capital One. I ain't had no problems with them. I love them. I recommend them to anybody. But yes, parents, have the conversation with your children. Make sure that they know the pros and cons, because to be completely honest with you, a lot of times credit and credit cards get a real bad stigma around them, but it's not a bad thing. It's just you have to be responsible with how you're spending it.
Yes.
If you do not have a plan, if your mindset is not right for money, baby, you're going to lose regardless. So have the conversations with them, make sure they understand, and don't be afraid to let them know, listen, you just because somebody offers it to you don't mean you got to take it.
Yep.
So if you do have children and you feel comfortable enough, I put my niece on my line of credit. I made her an authorized user before she graduated. I did it. She was 16, 17, like junior, senior year of high school or whatever. So by the time she got to college, she had credit and she could, do whatever she needed to do. And I did. I had the conversation with her like, these are options that you have. These are things that you may be offered or things that you can do. And, go from there, because it's like I said, they're banking on your ignorance. And the more you know, whether or not you utilize it is one thing, but at least if you know what's going on, you have a better chance of being able to maneuver and be successful in that movement.
I would like to add something too, with the credit card, well, just the banking conversation, period. When I worked my time at the bank, I learned a lot. My first credit card, I didn't get till I was like 32 years old. And it's because so when I was growing up, my mom was like, no, don't get credit cards. They're bad. They're bad. They're bad. So I've never had a credit card until I started working at the bank. And so when I worked at the bank, I wanted to see why was that stigma. Well, why did my mom say that? And I started to see obviously when you work at the bank, you're a mortgage loan officer, right? And so when people would bring their debt to you, I'm sitting like, wow, you got $50,000 in credit card debt. But this is the thing though. This is the key though. Because, this is another conversation, this home ownership thing, because they own the home, right? Now they can take out a line of credit on their home, consolidate all that debt onto that line of credit. And now instead of paying the credit card back, they're paying off just the line of credit from the home, right? And then the home, the debt that they put on the line of credit, all that's wiped out from the credit card. So you're totally wiping out the debt from the credit cards. There's zero balances. And now you're just adding that debt to your mortgage, to your home. And so I saw some of the income. I'm just like, wow, like that's powerful, because people are struggling, maintaining, their lifestyles and trying to look a certain way. But there are options out here. It's just that sometimes we don't have those conversations and we're not exposed to them. And so for me, when I started seeing that, I'm like, okay, I need to get a credit card. And I got my first one. My wife was panicking. She's like, oh my God, you got a credit card, right? It was like, what, 500? And then I got my limit was 1,000 and all that stuff. But I just started to see, okay, it just made sense. You pay on time, you pay it immediately, you don't get no interest, your credit score goes up. That's simple, right? And then like people, they laugh at me now because you'll see me wearing stuff like this or pajamas. I'm not trying, I'll splurge every now and then, but you don't see me walking around with brand new shoes and all that stuff on, because I don't want to be a debt. I'd rather have a great credit score than, messing around trying to look flashy, right? And so my question to you, I said all that to say this: can you decipher credit versus cash? Because that's a conversation. Like, would you rather have $1 million in cash, or would you rather have an 820 credit score?
I'd rather have an 820 credit score.
Yes, ma'am.
Because with an 820 credit score, I can get much more money. Because your credit score, what it does is it basically tells you how many other options you have to get money and how much of it you can get. Mm-hmm. The higher your score, the more money you can get. The lower your score, the least amount of money you can get. It's that simple. So if you hand me $1 million and I blow through that and I got a 479 credit score, what?
Yes.
How? Why, Jesus? So make sure that you are having these conversations. Educate yourself and educate your kids so that they know credit is not a bad thing. And another thing, do not use the credit card.
Yep.
You need to use the card.
Yeah.
That's how it works. It's a cyclical situation. All right. I don't care if you tell your kids they get the card, I don't know, did they charge y'all for iTunes?
Yeah.
Okay. Then put your iTunes on it.
99 cents or something like that. I forget
something small. Okay. Yeah. Put your Hulu subscription on there.
Yeah.
And pay it every month.
That's like I don't mind. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Pop Crystal's message up there real quick. I'm still listening. Sorry, guys.
Go ahead.
But you need to use the card. Okay. And also Do not close the card because you done went up there and ran it all out and now you mad because you got to pay all this money back and now you just gonna close it down because you mad. No, leave it open. If you need to roll it over, then you can do a credit balance, right? And roll that over to another card with a better rate, etc., etc. But do not close your cards, okay? And do not sit here and say, as long as I don't use it, I'm fine. When you don't use your credit, it actually brings your score down. You have to use it.
We are going to pivot because we got two more topics to pivot to, and this is the next one. What would be your rule of thumb for saving? Because we talked about budgeting, we talked about bills, paying bills, but what would be your rule of thumb for saving? And yes, people, that's water and tea. That's not alcoholic beverages.
I'm glad you cleared that up. I'm a tea drinker, everybody.
I'm a grown woman. I don't care if you know that I drink. Anywho, no, it is water, but still, like, why? Anyway, rule of thumb for savings: auto save. Okay, if you have a job and you get paid via direct deposit, go to your job and say, "Hey, I need to give you guys another account to put some money into." Now, if you decide you want to do a percentage, you can do a percentage. If you decide you want to do just a basic dollar amount, you can do a dollar amount. But nowadays, every job that offers direct deposit, I don't know anybody that doesn't legally. Just be honest. Every job you go to, they offer direct deposit, and you can split it up, I think, to 4 or 5 different accounts. Most places. So when you go and you fill out your routing and account number, put the dollar amount or the percentage that you want to go into your savings. And then the second line, routing and account number, will go to your checking. Now, that savings account, if you are serious about saving, do not have it attached to your checking account. Do not even have it at the same bank. Okay? My suggestion, bank with like large local banks. That way you can access your money anywhere you are in the country. Your savings account should be at the mom and pop bank down the street that's been in business and family owned since 1862. All right. And that routing and account number is the number you're going to give to your employer to put $200 into every time you get paid. And then mom and pop bank is going to send you a bank statement because they don't use computers. And they're going to mail you your bank statement every month. And you're going to see your $200 accumulate over time. Okay? So, if you're serious about saving, do not attach your long-term savings to your checking account. Because if you just starting out budgeting and just starting out saving, you're going to be tempted to spend it if something should happen. All right. And it's hard to make hard, fast decisions of what an emergency really is if you know you have access to extra money. All right. So make it harder for yourself to get to that money if you're serious about savings. Now, I will say, you do want to have a little bit of a savings attached to your checking account for overdrafts, period. Anything can happen. If you're like me and you have everything on auto pay and you forgot you had something on auto pay and you done paid it twice and now you're looking at your account like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
$500, where did it go? Because you paid the $250 twice. And now you need that $250 back. Well, you can't go to the creditor and say, I ain't mean to give you that extra $250 and they're going to give you your money back. So have a small amount attached to your checking that you can use for overdraft and like small emergencies. But like your long-term savings, I would put it in another bank, in another situation, put it on auto save. That is the best way to save money because if you can't see it, you are not tempted to use it.
Yep.
All right. Which is another reason why envelope savings situation does not work for me. I look at it and I'll be like, this ain't really a lot of money. And once this envelope is empty, I feel broke. Dang, I'm broke. I ain't got no more money in the gas fund. What we gonna do? So that would be my advice. Rule of thumb for savings: auto save. Put it on autopilot so you don't have to think about it.
Before we get to our last topic, I would like to pivot to our words of the day, which is perseverance. The Swahili interpretation is uvu malivu, and it means persistence is doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. Keep going and standing firm. And so we thought, well, Candace thought that this would be appropriate for today's topic and show, because when we're talking about finances, some people can get, pigeon-toed and stop and, stuck in places, right? And so I'm sorry, like I'm so tired right now. So I'm looking for grasping words. But they get stuck in situations and they don't, keep going. And so I think that was fitting for today's show with the topic. One thing I would like to do also is, the conversation around bankruptcy, because we talked about this was yesterday. I've never been, I never filed, right? So but I know people who had those challenges, right? And so obviously we want to touch on a lot of different topics. And so this topic here, I found a lot of people struggle with. And so the question is filing bankruptcy a death sentence?
Nope. You'll live. Guaranteed. Unless, of course, it is your time, in which there's absolutely nothing anyone can do. But no, bankruptcy is not a death sentence. And I think the reason that bankruptcy, again, has such a stigma surrounding it is just the lack of knowledge. So bankruptcy, one of the biggest pros, it essentially gives you a clean slate.
I think she froze.
Probably so. You can pop up James's message until she gets back on.
Mr. Webb, every person I know who has $1 million liquid filed bankruptcy. Yeah, and the guy who used to be our president, Donald Trump, he's filed bankruptcy plenty of times. And you see it doesn't affect his cash flow, right? So I absolutely agree with that. I know a lot of people who are in business who filed bankruptcy and who went that route, and they was obviously you got lawyers and all that who can help you maneuver through those processes. But obviously, the reason I asked her that's because I've known people, family members or friends, and people who have went that route. They were not, like she said, it was a free slate, right? It was not a death sentence. Obviously your credit score is going to go down, and they're going to pay off your the people that you owe, your debtors. But when that happens, everything is a fresh start, right? And so it's just up to you to maintain your credit and making sure that your bills are being paid on time. And so absolutely not, it's not a death sentence. I think may have been internet issues and whatnot.
Yeah, I just got a text from her. She says that a transformer blew, and so the lights are out. So that means
Oh wow! Look at that. See, like that's crazy. Like stuff happens. They don't want us giving us this information, getting out information. But we go like my friend said, you're gonna get this work. We're gonna get this work out, right? This is a comment. Bad weather.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! That's so back home is that really? See, it's been cold all day up here. It's been like 55 degrees up there.
Well, here in Indy, it's been raining all day as well. Raining and the wind has been blowing. Oh, you back on. I see it's dark. You're resilient. But I say persistent.
Y'all say perseverance, damn it. We're going to see how far this 21% going to get us. All right?
You better go outside in your car when we get off the train. So you have it.
Yeah. The weirdest thing, though, because I thought about that earlier. I was like, you know what? I really hope that the lights don't go out, because I don't have that issue over here. I've never had that problem over here. It's the weirdest thing. But I heard the transformer blow like 4 times, so this might be down for a minute. Luckily for me, it ain't hot here. But child,
Did I say you are very resilient? Because I
Yes.
just told them the message.
Yes.
that you guys said. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. You are crazy.
You popped out like, I'm back.
listen, okay? The show must go on. I'm not gonna just leave y'all in the lurch because these damn lights done went out. Technological advances. Let's get it. Damn it, these people need to know what to do with their money so they don't go broke. So if you filed bankruptcy, real. If I need to go to my car, I will. But this is the last topic, though, right?
It
good?
is.
Yes, it is.
Okay, fantastic. Because I know I look like I'm standing in the what was that movie they did in the middle of the woods with one camera and a flashlight?
Oh, what's that movie? What is
The
it?
horror film
Blair
Witch
Project.
Blair
Yeah.
Witch
I've never
Project.
seen that. I've never seen it, but I know what she's talking about.
Yes,
Yeah.
And that's what this look like, don't it? This Blair Witch camera right here, honey. Yeah. Because if the light go out on my laptop, then ain't gonna be no light here at all.
You is so.
Pull it together, Amaru. Pull it together.
You can't get rid of me that easy.
Okay.
So
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
bankruptcy. Y'all can hear me if you can't see me. So the thing with bankruptcy is it's not a death sentence, okay? It literally gives you a clean slate. You get to start over because whatever gets approved, because you have to file for it, okay? And then once you file for it, you get to put down whatever credit that you owe, whatever debts that you owe, you're wanting to have them, charged off. Everything you submit may not get charged off. If it does, fantastic. If not, you're still responsible for the stuff that didn't get charged off. Now, depending on your situation, you can file Chapter 7, you can file Chapter 13, and depending on which one you file, there are differences in terms of what you may have to get rid of. Now, bankruptcy law covers your house, your car, and your clothes. Now, if you're somebody that has a boat, they're taking your boat. As long as you don't live on the boat. But if you have a house and a boat, you can keep the house, they taking the boat. If you live on the boat, you can keep the boat because you live there. But don't go buy a house because they're going to come take that. So when you have multiple assets of the same kind, as long as you have one remaining that's covered under law, they can take the rest of them. All right. Now, it may sound funky, but I feel like this. If you're somebody who has multiple assets that, you got 5 or 6 houses, are you really mad that they took 4 and left you with one? And you still got somewhere to live,
Yeah.
But so yeah, it gives you a clean slate. You can start rebuilding your credit immediately. You do not have to wait, and you will basically be starting from scratch, the same way we were talking about how you build credit and all of that. Go get you a secure credit card, go and find somebody that'll co-sign. Now, if you file bankruptcy, finding somebody to co-sign for you is gonna be real hard.
Especially if when you were doing really, really well, you didn't really look out for them.
Period. So, watch out for the little guy. All right. Don't burn any bridges. You never know when you're going to need folks, because the same people you pass on your way up, you're going to see on your way down. But it's
Asia,
doable.
how you gonna ask me to put in your kid's name? What we really should talk about.
But can you put what in your kids' names? The bankruptcy?
She probably talking about the assets.
That's slick.
You can.
But you should do a trust, Asia.
But I was about to say you should put it in a trust if you're gonna do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put anything in your kid's name. You can put anything in your kid's name, but do it in a trust so that nothing. Go ahead, Candace.
Because of the taxes and everything like that, So a trust.
And then when you file bankruptcy, your trust is protected, and that's why it's there.
Oh,
it creates this bubble. It creates this somewhat of an untouchable bubble.
Yeah. Okay. I did not know that. That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah. but you would be starting from scratch. So bankruptcy is not a death sentence. It doesn't mean, it's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, let's just be honest. Rich Caucasians file bankruptcy all the time.
We were just talking about Donald Trump. Yeah, we were just talking about Donald Trump and where he's at. He was just president. He was bankruptcy so many times, and his establishment is still down there in Chicago, Trump Tower. So that don't mean, you know what I mean? He got the golf course down there in Florida, so that don't mean nothing,
Well, those things have his name on it, but they aren't in his name. They're protected by the business trust.
And he's saying creating a trust isn't cheap, though. But having someone take all your assets isn't cheap either. So you gotta kind of weigh things out, right?
The pros and the cons, honey, because sometimes the pros outweigh the cons, and sometimes the cons outweigh the pros. Personally, I feel like the amount of money that you would spend building a trust, creating one to solidify your family and your legacy beyond you, or should anything happen, I feel like it's worth it. But again, that's the value situation. To me, that's a value add. So garnishments. So if you file bankruptcy and any money you make beyond that beyond the filing date is all yours. They cannot come and get your money. They can't garnish those wages. Now, when you're filing bankruptcy, if before it actually gets approved, they can garnish every dang on thing you got. Well, up to a percentage, and that's just by law. Like any garnishments that you get will never be 100%, because by law you cannot garnish 100% of somebody's wages. It's always going to be a percentage. But if you're filing bankruptcy, any money that you make going forward after you have filed is all yours, cannot be touched by creditors, and they cannot come for you at all.
Well, I mean, that was good. I learned a lot.
That's a lot of information. Thank you so much. I did want to ask a question. We're getting ready for our annual event that we have. We had it last year in August, and we're gonna have it again this year in August. And you were one of our supporters, so I would extend the invite to you again if you're in town. If you would be able to kind of, if people had questions about credit, about any finances, budgeting, credit cards and things like that, would you be available to kind of answer some questions for them, and so that they can educate themselves and their children? I think oftentimes people have money, they don't know where to correctly direct their funds, they don't really put them in investments, or they don't have savings. People really live for like right now. A lot of things that we do with people are very instant gratification. So they're not looking at saving money for generations or generational wealth. So if you will be open to answer those questions, that'd be great.
Absolutely. And that's the strategy for struggle that everybody has. Barely making it check to check. That's why I call it a strategy for struggle, because that's what you're doing. You're struggling. You're struggling to make ends meet. You're struggling to barely get by. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. And your money mantra should be used as your blueprint to take you from a strategy of struggle to a strategy of stability to a strategy of success. So stability says all of your needs are being met without any stress, strain, worry, strife, nothing. You're good. Success means abundance. Now you have more than enough to cover your needs. So now you can get into the stuff you want to do. Okay. And you can start making investments. You can start doing all of these other things outside of just taking care of the stuff that you need to take care of. But you have to get stable first. So taking it from a strategy of struggle to a strategy of stability is the first step. And then you can move forward and say, okay, now that I'm stable, we can get some other stuff done. Don't try to fly before you crawl now, because that's I guarantee you're gonna crash and burn.
And see, you need to write a book. That's what I'm saying. I know she's powerful, man, because I've heard of some of the stuff you've done with people, and so I wanted to give you your flowers. Absolutely, it's been a pleasure having you on, because you learn a lot just listening to her, because it's just, you would think that it'd be some profound oracle, like you're like, oh my God, I never heard that before. So most of the things you heard before, but it's just re-emphasizing some of the things that we need to just encompass, right? And so yeah, she's very powerful. And so we appreciate you so much for this, especially with the stuff going on. That is just too
I am so appreciative the way you jumped back on like nothing ever happened. Thank you so much.
And Dub hit me like you froze. I said, "Nah, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. We in this thing."
But with that, we don't want to keep it any longer because we want you to take care of that situation.
Oh, girl, I'm getting ready to take this phone to the car. Y'all done the
Find
video.
your candles. Find your candles.
Oh, I ain't gotta find them. I know exactly where they at. Girl, it's 9 o'clock. I gotta go to bed. You gotta turn these lights back on. I gotta charge this phone up though.
Yeah. Well, we thank you. Guys, we'll be back next week. Well, not next week. In 2 weeks, we will be talking with Alan Gaines, right, about some of the things some literature that he has. And so I gotta admit, I gotta catch up on it because he got a lot of stuff, and so that's gonna be a fun show. Again, we love the show. Love to our worked alumni, they are scattered all over the country, right? And so, doing things. And so, absolutely, with yourself, Alan, and others, we like to spotlight them. So, do you have any closing thoughts besides lights going out?
Honey, listen, I'm about to go in here and, like I said, I'm gonna go put my phone in the car, and I really do think I'm going to bed. Like, I'm tired. I can go to bed right now. Go in there and go sleep. I don't need no lights to go to sleep. It's a beautiful thing. I'm kind of hungry though, and my microwave ain't working right now. That's the biggest problem I'm having.
Night snack.
Man, it's Sunday. Ain't nothing open over here but White Castle and Popeyes. I ain't gonna be able to do it.
We don't have White Castle in Wisconsin. We don't have White Castle on John Silver. We don't have it's something else we don't have here. They don't have Giordano's here either.
I mean, first of all, Giordano's ain't even everywhere. That's number one. But White Castle, they not everywhere either. Like once you get past Tennessee, ain't no White Castles. Crystals, which is trash, but they out there. But anywho, you guys, it's been a pleasure. I will absolutely answer any questions anyone has. If you guys need some help, some tips, I'm more than happy to help. I'm soon to be actually a certified financial planner.
Congratulations. Good for you.
So yeah. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me. Shout out to Alan. I miss you, buddy. I haven't seen you in forever. I might not even know what you look like anymore, but I'll try to tune in 2 weeks. Y'all remind me.
Yes,
Eugene, because I forget.
I will. I'll remind you.
All right. I'm down to 12%, y'all. Bye.
See you later. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good week.